Well, holy greetings once again, dear brothers and sisters. Praise be to Yahweh Elohim of Israel, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Very warm welcome to the Keys of the Kingdom Holy Bible YouTube channel. And truly the keys of the kingdom are jangling and rattling. My name is Christopher Sparks. I'm the translator of the Keys of the Kingdom Holy Bible. One will be taken and another will be left. And if this doesn't persuade you. I was speaking with a friend on the phone a few days ago, and I didn't understand this until I understood New Testament prophecy. What is this? One will be taken and the other be left. What does it mean? I couldn't make sense of it. I would ask myself, what is going to happen? Is it good to be taken, or is it good to be left? How could I tell? What other passages could I find? So will some have their lives taken and others be left to enjoy Christ's presence and the kingdom on earth? Or will they get taken somewhere else? Or will they get left, abandoned, or have their lives taken? Which is the good one? What should I wish for? To be taken or to be left? Jesus was speaking to those standing in front of him. This generation will not pass away until all these things arise. Matthew 24:34. And he said that those standing here will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and immense glory. Matthew 24:30. Those standing here. And then he said, two will be in a field, one will be taken, the other will be left. Two will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, the other will be left. Which is the one to whom Jesus will say, come, you blessed, belonging to my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you? Matthew 25:34. What was going to happen? Well, surely Jesus was coming back here, isn't that what it says? Well, until you get the revelation of New Testament prophecy, it can all be a great mystery, yet it's all so clear. The New Testament writings of prophecy are just burning with it, the imminence of these events. So John 14 verse 3, verses 1 to 3, in my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. Where I am, you also might be. So where I am, you might be. So, well, he was going to be in the heavens, sitting at the right hand of God. In my Father's house. Now, I had thought that's the temple, but maybe in the Father's house is a figure of speech for where the Father is in the heavens. Matthew 26:29. Jesus said he wouldn't drink the fruit of the vine with his disciples again until he drank it with them of a new sort, in the kingdom of my Father. And then we have this, in my Father's house. And then Hebrews 12:24. Now I printed that so I could get straight to it. Hebrews 12 verses 22 to 24. You have drawn near to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God. Well, what's this Mount Zion? Isn't that just some name for Jerusalem? Well, no, the city of the living God, heavenly Jerusalem. Oh, and to myriads of angels. Well, there aren't angels round there. To the general assembly and ecclesia of firstborn enrolled in the heavens. Well, I better start believing this. In the heavens. This is where Mount Zion is. And to God. You've drawn near to God. Well, God is in his heavens. Judge of all, and to spirits of the righteous having been perfected. So spirits there put for people, resurrected people. And to Jesus, mediator of the fresh covenant. Well, Jesus was taken up to the Father. So you've drawn near to God, drawn near to Jesus, to the angels, and Jesus, mediator of the fresh covenant, and to blood of sprinkling, which speaks of better things than that of Abel. Oh, it's starting to be clear, isn't it? It couldn't be more obvious. So to be taken would be to be taken up to the heavens, wouldn't it? But we have been conditioned by Protestant evangelicalism to shove all Jesus' words into a vague, never-happening future, not for this generation and those standing here that Jesus said, for us, for you, these personal pronouns that Jesus and the apostles used in their speech and their writing, to us, you. It was for them there, for us, and to deny. This is what we've been conditioned to do, to deny that those prophecies, the imminence, were for those standing here who would see the Son of Man. We have been conditioned by false teaching on prophecy, shoving it into the distant future, the never never, and of course, surely it's for us, this generation. Every generation says, then collapses into the coffin, and it wasn't after all. So the one left is the one left in a day of darkness and gnashing of teeth, and that bile of anger, the anger of man that does not engender the righteousness of God, the letter of Jacob, who they like to call James, says. And I love that. The anger of man does not engender the righteousness of God. You see it in the roads every day, the drivers. And so the one blessed and belonging to the Father is taken into the kingdom of the Father of Jesus to inherit that place. The many mansions in my Father's house. To inherit the city, the heavenly Jerusalem, Jesus prepared for his people in the day of Christ. So Paul spoke of the heavenly Jerusalem, Galatians 4:26. So that mention in Hebrews 12, that extended passage, is the same as Paul saying in Galatians 4:26, the Jerusalem above, which is mother of us all. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they will see God. How will they see God? By being taken up into the heavens. Otherwise, how could they see God? It doesn't make sense, does it? So there is therefore described for us perfectly now the meaning of that promise of Aeonian life. From aeon, the Greek word meaning eon or age, from which we get eon, the English word, directly from the Greek aeon, which is equivalent to the Hebrew olam. And that means hidden, and it means age. This is in Gesenius's lexicon, Hebrew English lexicon. The first thing Gesenius gives us is that olam means hidden, and then also age or eon, it being equivalent to aeon, because passages in the New Testament that cite the Old Testament, the Greek that cites the Hebrew, aeon is put for olam. So this is, Paul says, our life is hidden with Christ. So hidden, hence olam, hidden age, hence aeon, hence aeonios, the Greek adjective of aeon, meaning Aeonian, hence life in an age hidden from others, hidden in the heavens, hence being taken up to the heavens, the kingdom of the heavens, until that day when Christ brings the bride back, and death for believers will be no more. For as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 2, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man the things God has in store for those who love him. And that was Paul's citation of Isaiah 64 verse 4. And incidentally, that is also found in Shakespeare. So not in vain were the hopes of those believers, Elpis Israel, the hope of Israel. And Galatians 1:4, to deliver or save us out of the present eon of evil, Paul wrote to his readers in Galatia, to whom Peter also wrote, all Israelites. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 1, to the elect exiles of the dispersion in Cappadocia and Galatia. Both Peter and Paul wrote to the Galatians. And Paul says to them that God would, or Christ would, deliver them or save them out of that present eon of evil. So they were taken up, and those who were dead were raised. So not in vain were the hopes of King David, the prophet and king, who said, I will awaken in your likeness. Psalm 17 verse 15. The entirety of the New Testament is burning with the imminence of tribulation, of wars and signs and famines, and with the imminence of resurrection and the imminence of judgment and the imminence of the return of Christ to take his people, not just the disciples, but all who were in him, the good fish, the virgins who had oil, the sheep, the wheat, all in Christ, wherever they were taken up. And the Greek confirms it. I should have looked at the Greek years ago when I didn't understand these things. But I didn't. I didn't think to do that. You'd think I would have done that, wouldn't you? But certainly the Greek confirms it. One will be taken, another will be left. One will be taken. Right, the Greek verb is paralambano. And this appears at Matthew 1:20, when the angel Gabriel says to Joseph to not be afraid, or was it Gabriel? No, it was an angel of the Lord, wasn't it? Says to Joseph to not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. Right, take, paralambano. Thayer's Greek Lexicon, page 484. He says, to take to join to oneself and to receive, to join to oneself. So the angel to Joseph, do not be afraid to join Mary to yourself as your wife. Matthew 1:24, Joseph paralambanoed Mary as his wife. He joined her to himself as his wife. And so doesn't that all make sense now? That John 14:3, I will come back and I will receive you to myself. Well, that's the same word, paralambano. I will join you to myself, so that where I am, you also might be. So to be taken is what they should have wished for, to be paralambanoed as part of the bride of Christ, as Mary, Joseph paralambanoed Mary to be his wife. The covenant wife. I will join you to myself. And when did it happen? It happened in the night. How do I know that? Well, Jesus said, as flashing lightning will illuminate the sky, and the sign of the Son of Man will blaze in the sky. And now listen to Luke 17:35. In that night, that's how I knew, two will be in a bed, one will be taken, one will be joined, and the other will be left. So one will be joined to the bridegroom rather, and the other will be left. Two will be in a mill, one will be paralambanoed, joined to the bridegroom, the other will be left. And two will be in a field, one will be paralambanoed, joined, and the other will be left, joined to the bridegroom, and the one left in darkness, in the night, gnashing teeth. So that rapture, that harpazo is the Greek for rapture, that harpazo event is the same as 1 Thessalonians 14, 16 to 17. So let's have a look at that. The Lord himself will come down from heaven with a shout. Well, Jesus said to his disciples, I will come back, or I will come again, John 14:2. He will come from heaven with a shout of command, with a voice of the archangel, and with a loud trumpet blast, and the dead in Christ will be raised first. After that, we, the living, left remaining, together with them will be caught up among clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so always we will be with the Lord in the heavens. Notice he says we will be, we the living, left remaining. He was speaking to his readers that would happen for them. We, first person plural pronoun, includes the people you're speaking to. Right, back to Luke 17. 2 will be in a bed, 2 will be in the mill, grinding at the mill, 2 will be in the field. Your colleague at work scoffs at you. Now I remember, before I was even saved, I spent an entire lunch hour sitting on the grass talking to a colleague, trying to convince him that God and Christ actually existed. This was, 3 years before I was saved. We sat out in the sun on the grass, and I was frustrated that he couldn't believe God existed. Strange that I was acting as some sort of evangelist before I was even saved. And so your colleague mocks you, and then suddenly you're out in the field or you're at the mill and you get taken. You get paralambanoed. You get harpazoed. And then alternatively, you're in bed with your spouse. You hear the shout of command. You hear the trumpet. They hear nothing. You go to the window and you're gone. Some scoffers, some lukewarm, who have been shocked into submission, will surely submit at that event. What grief at what they missed. Aeonian life, that hidden life in the heavens that happened in the night during the time of AD 70, when Jesus said he would go away for a little while and prepare a place for his disciples, and then in a little while he'd be back, and that he could receive them, join them to himself in the kingdom of his Father. So, one will be harpazoed to Jesus, another left. That's what happened. And one will be paralambanoed to Jesus, the bridegroom, as the covenant bride, and another left, rejected from the bride. That's what happened.